Oh, geez. Is it just me, or did the intro music sound way worse today?
Were we recording?
Yeah, I was recording that. Oh,
Okay.
you. All right.
I didn't hear the intro music at all.
Oh, you didn't?
No, no.
Okay. Hold
Hey
on.
people.
Hey, hold on. I'm turning you down. The volume's a little high.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. All right. So, welcome to Tina and Karen Do the Tube. I am Karen.
Hey, this is Tina. Sorry, it's been a little while.
It's been a long while.
Been a long
Um,
while. When
yeah,
was
but
our last recording?
our official last. Okay, so there's a few videos that I need to edit together to just put up. But our official last video, I think that we published was probably in May.
Okay, it's been
Okay.
a second.
It's been a long second.
Yeah.
So, to all of our devoted fans who stuck through that long gap time, there were podcasts that we recorded together. We just didn't publish them because, well, I can try to blame that I'm a busy person, but truth is, I'm just lazy.
You're frugal
Frugal is.
with your time and your money.
Thank you. Okay, that's something. All right. Yeah, I'm frugal.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, hopefully 2024 will be a better year for this channel. Hopefully we'll grow from 29 to 30 rocket ship
Yeah.
subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, we're still shooting up.
Who's going to be that number 30? We'll get a special shout out on our channel. That's right. We'll promote you.
Yeah, subscribe and comment.
Yes. All right. But 2024 should be a better year for all of us for a number of reasons, hopefully. And we're not going to actually. That was one thing that was discussed between Tina and I about what video we were going to do for this last video of 2023 was a
Yeah.
potential predictions of 2024.
You want to give any just off cuff here? We're gonna see less war, more war.
Oh, definitely
Uh,
more. I got no like specific predictions I can make for 2024 other than just it's all bad. There might be some good things. Final Fantasy VII Part 2 comes out next year, so that's good.
I think it's been like a.
That's the best news I can look forward to next year.
There you go. What's the best news I can look forward to? I think I'll
Uh,
be living on my own next year.
oh no shit, that's a big
Yeah,
deal.
that's a big deal. Yeah.
What you're looking to buy a place or rent your own place?
I think I might buy a place, but I still might be living on my own separately from my own place.
That doesn't make any sense. So
Yeah, I'll have to explain to you off the air.
okay, so you're planning on moving out and living on your own, regardless whether you buy or rent.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
living on my own.
yes.
2024, year of Tina.
Are you ready for that? I mean, you've been living with so many roommates for how many years now?
I know. I think
Ooh.
this will be the 14th year, so I'm ready.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
I
mean,
mean, 15, probably at least 20 different people or close to it.
right.
Yeah.
For me personally, like the biggest thing I was looking forward to after I graduated college was just getting my own place.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you imagine me living by myself? I feel like I would get like weird habits.
Weirder.
Weirder. Yes, weird. I
Yeah.
think my roommates keep me in check.
I don't know. I mean, I'm curious about that. I think we'll have a longer talk about that off stream. Uh, but I'm looking. I mean, that's good news. That's positive.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got some other good news too.
Oh, sure. Is that off
Tina,
stream or on stream?
on stream.
Oh,
Tina will also be an uncle next year.
what the?
Hello.
Tina
Yeah.
will be an uncle? Oh, you're
Yeah.
Tina. I'm Karen. I thought you were
Yeah,
somehow announcing that like you're pregnant somehow. Okay.
no, no, no.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah,
Oh wow, Tina's gonna be an uncle. That makes more sense.
yep, yep.
I was thinking about my own like family, and I was just thinking,
Huh? Tina,
how,
uncle.
why are you? Why do you know about what's going on in my sister's life more than I am? What the hell? And then I just remember I'm Karen. What the fuck? It says so right on there on the screen.
Yeah, and you'll be class president 2024.
That's right. I'm
Oh yeah.
running, baby. More like better lunches and shorter periods. So that's
Yeah,
the plat. That's the
what
plat.
party is that?
That's the
The,
party. That's the party party.
it's a single party.
No, it's the party party.
Okay. Okay.
That's the Kanye West birthday party.
The school rock party.
School rocks party.
There you go. You don't have
Yeah,
any opposition?
I don't know. There's this one like Caddy Junior who's up against me. I have a cheerleader squad, but like I don't think it's a popularity contest. They really all the kids care about the issues.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say they probably have no issues that they're going for. They're just going on popularity.
Yeah, no, it's not. Shoot, how dare you besmirch the name of class president and just like lower it to this basic popularity contest?
I can't even remember who our class president was. Do you?
Yeah, I do actually.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah.
You want me to tell?
Well, just first name if you remember.
Lindsay,
Oh, damn, there's too many Lindsays. The
the one
Lindsay
who's
I'm thinking of,
is she in
spelled
Hollywood?
with a Y.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's her.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
she
Was
was.
she? Oh, wow,
Yeah, no,
wow.
smart girl. Don't know anything. Whether do you think she's doing okay?
Unless I heard she was doing all right. She was doing stuff in Hollywood.
Yeah, but like Hollywood is so competitive, and like most people who try usually end up doing really bad lives. I would say.
Yeah, and then start YouTube channels.
Does she have a YouTube channel? We should bring her on.
I don't know actually.
Cloud chasing. All right. Actually, let's get into our main video. All right.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So we are going to be reacting and responding to a video called "The Art of Overanalyzing Movies," and
Hmm.
it comes from a channel called Now You See It. Go and hit subscribe, like their videos, watch the original video before you come and watch ours, or after you watch ours. But
Yeah. Get your own opinion first.
no,
Yeah, no, okay.
everyone should have to have our opinion. I got,
First.
I got to
Then they
say,
can form their own opinions.
for our viewing audience, if the quality of the audio is a bit lacking, we are working through a lot of equipment problems lately. That's one of the reasons why it's harder for us to do videos.
Yeah.
Truthfully,
You can blame
it's
all
just
the upgraded tech that, most platforms are requiring.
yeah, I'm gonna keep chalking it up to somewhat laziness. I could actually figure this all out if I'm willing to just basically do in the time, do some research, do the tutorials, and then set up everything so it's streamlined for the next couple of videos. But until then, you have to just suffer through this. I promise you, 2024 will be all good. And
Hmm.
from that point on, let's
So if you like
just
us now, you'll love us more.
no. All right, so let's just watch this video, shall we?
Let's get
Okay,
going.
have any expectations?
It's the art of overanalyzing movies. So I'm wondering, is that like how people like kind of like maybe like soapbox themselves when they're like critiquing these movies when really there's not much you should say or that maybe the director's trying to convey
Yeah,
almost.
that's. I think that's clearly what the objective of this video is going to be. But
Hmm.
what I mean to say is like, do you think that there is a oversupply of film analysts out there online right now?
Definitely. Now that it's so easy to upload videos and stuff online, it's like when people first got a camera on their phone. Everyone's a photographer then, right?
Yeah.
You
So
know?
it's kind of crazy that we've the barrier has never been lower to producing good content or good critique, but it also has flooded the market with a bunch of crap analysts.
Analysts.
Yeah, including us.
Yes, yes, but we like to step it up a notch, add another layer. We critique the critiquers.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Let's get it. The curtains are blue. Okay, we cut off a word there, but you can kind of read what was going on. Curtains are blue. The teacher, the curtain represent the immense suffering and depression that the subject was going through, and the author's meaning the curtains are fucking blue.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Okay.
Overanalyzing.
Definitely overanalyzing at that point.
In *Inglourious Basterds*, Quentin Tarantino wrote a funny
Ooh.
sequence where a German officer mixes up the story of King Kong with the story of the American slave trade. Every question he asks has the same answer for both.
Auf der Schiffsreise lag ich da in Ketten.
Ja.
Als ich in Amerika ankam, wurde ich da in Ketten zur Schau gestellt.
Ja.
Bin ich die Geschichte des Negers in Amerika?
Nein.
Also dann muss ich King Kong sein.
The German officer and intern Tarantino clearly think King Kong is an allegory for the slave trade, yet the creators of King Kong have repeatedly denied this interpretation of the movie, saying there are no hidden meanings. It's just a story to them. This disconnect between creator and audience brings to light one of the most important questions in film discussion. Is an interpretation still valid if it's not what the artist intended? The answer.
What do you think about that?
I know like some like directors, authors like to leave things like open-ended. But if the director obviously said that there's no like hidden meaning there, and King Kong was just supposed to be like this big creature, and they're going more for like the journey, then yeah, some of the best art, I don't know, it's some of the best art kind of comes from how other people will interpret it too. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Are you familiar with the concept of death of the author?
No, yeah, tell me.
So, death of the author is a sort of form of film critique, or I guess it could be literature or any medium, in which the subject, the reader or the viewer, their critique of the film, their analysis of the film is as valid as the author. So if the author says, so if J.K. Rowling said Harry Potter is an allegory for Jesus Christ, let's say, I'm not saying that's what she said, but let's say that's what her interpretation was, but no one else read into that. If you and I read Harry Potter and thought that like Harry Potter was a stand-in for Genghis Khan, our opinion is as valid as hers. That's the death of the author. It doesn't matter what the intention of the filmmaker is, it's how people interpret it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's just gonna happen to any sort of extent, it seems like.
Right, but which do you think is more important? What the author's intent was, or what the viewers let's say the consensus intent was? Let's say you, me, and 70% of audiences all thought Harry Potter was about Genghis Khan. Is it about Genghis Khan, or is it about Jesus Christ?
Ooh.
Or is it about a boy who flies around on a fucking broomstick? How about that?
It's about Jesus Christ, but yeah, I don't think you can necessarily kill the author at that point. Like, sure, yeah, a lot of people will say, yeah, it seems to be more about Genghis Khan, or that's how they interpret it. But
have you ever wrote it? Sorry, I've drank a lot of tea. Have you ever wrote a fictional story before, even when you were really young?
I used to write like poetry a lot, but no fictional stories, no.
No, so you didn't have like.
I did find some like thing in kindergarten where I wrote about like Amazon River otters for some reason.
Oh, that's interesting. Amazon River otters.
I was really into animals when I was a kid, like most kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like otters though?
Have you seen Amazon River otters? They're
no,
intense.
They are
cuddly. They got like bloodshot eyes. They hunt people. They hunt like crocodile or Amazon crocodiles and like.
I'll look into them, but like, can I just say that like, even the most deadly even the most ferocious river otter, is it going to be as ferocious as a crocodile or a shark? My point being,
yes.
My point being, no.
Crocodiles don't hunt in packs.
No. But it's funny to me that like you're drawn to the otter, but not because they're cute and cuddly, because that's one reason you could be drawn to an otter. You were drawn to them because they're vicious and ferocious, but there are so many better examples of ferocious animals. Most people are drawn to otters because they are cute and cuddly.
Not these ones.
Okay,
I think that's why I was drawn. They were unique.
You like furry but deadly?
Okay, sure, yes.
Hey, that works. Okay.
Yes, yes, and yeah, that's how
That
I prefer mine.
that translates into a lot of weird cat girl porn.
Oh.
I'm just teasing.
Yeah,
Although,
yeah.
is it?
No.
Okay.
No, there's nothing beyond that.
All right, we got a declaration for 2024.
That's how you should
Tina will
interpret it.
not get a cat girl sex robot.
Yeah.
Swear on a,
Don't read into my story too much.
swear on a Bible?
Yeah, if I have one
No, no,
already.
no, no. You don't have to do it. No, you don't have to do it right now. But are you willing to like? Is that the length you will go to? Hmm. I just don't want to find out that you like bought a sex robot that was a cat girl.
No, no.
People do
No.
it. Japan.
That's very true. Japan has a lot of weird.
It's all
Um,
it's all happening in the long run. Trust me. All right. What were we
only
talking
get
about?
weirder.
It's getting weird.
Death of the author.
Death of the author. Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Right. So you believe that the author's intent matters almost more than the consensus of the audience.
Sometimes it depends. It depends on. Okay, so let's take a song for example, like Friday. You know, that really bad song from years ago.
I don't know of a bad song called Friday. I know of a really good song called Friday. Is that the one you're talking about?
Sure, yes. Well, like
Okay.
consensus is it's one of the worst songs all time.
Okay. Well, art is subjective. Okay.
Yeah, and not the author's intent wasn't for it to be.
Well, you're talking about the quality.
It was considered to be. Oh, yeah, that's true. Quality is different.
Yes, quality is different than like artistic intent.
Artistic interpretation.
So the reason I asked you about like stories, like I was a very imaginative kid. I like to write stories and to pretend about stories, and even about like say video games that I played. I'd like to expand on the universe
You
in
like
my head.
you're a fan fiction guy.
Yeah, fan fiction, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that ever got widely distributed and people misinterpreted what my intention was, but I don't even know like, have you heard the idea that like the difference between art and propaganda is that art, the story comes first, and in propaganda, the message comes first?
Interesting. I haven't. No, I could see it though.
Yeah, so someone who aims to put out propaganda of any kind is basically they decide their central moral first, and then they write a story to fit that moral.
But yeah,
Versus
they like try to push the narrative.
Ayn
Yeah.
Rand.
Would you say her work was propaganda?
From what I've heard from people, well, like I've read Fountainhead, never read Atlas Shrugged, read a
Really?
few, never read
Because
Atlas
I
Shrugged.
read Atlas Shrugged because we had to read it in high school.
We didn't have to read that. I read Anthem. That was the only thing required of us to read.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Never mind. I still have that book somewhere.
Anthem's fine. I like Anthem. But
It's simple, yeah.
she was someone who was a decent philosopher and a bad writer, I would say, because her whole goal was basically to create stories that maximized or optimized her worldview.
Instead of like kind of like creating like a world and like for the reader to go through
Yeah,
almost.
like I mean, like if you're going to write a great character, the character has to seem logical and has to basically have a good rationale behind the things they do. It can't just be a pawn in your grand narrative to create your moral. This is why Dostoevsky is considered one of the great writers of all time, because when he wrote a villain, he wrote the villain to be as charismatic, persuasive, and as convincing as possible. And he didn't think of the villain as the true hero. He just wanted to present the villain as justified as possible as he possibly could.
Yeah, like trying to create full
Full,
characters.
fully
Yeah.
fleshed out characters,
Instead of
right?
vehicles to like push this story.
Exactly. Right. And I think that's important. So I think that would be the best difference, but that would be the best way to determine between art and propaganda is you do have to examine the author's intent.
Hmm.
You have to figure out what was their goal. Was their goal to tell a story and to see where it went? Because a lot of times when you're writing, it almost feels like the story is writing itself. You're just
Yeah, you don't seem to notice like the literary devices almost, or
yeah,
if you do, it like it's like an an aha moment.
right. It's not like you planned it out from the get go that this was going to be the moral of the whole story.
Not like, oh, you see it and then there it is, obviously, and
Yes, right.
yeah. Propaganda is a little bit more obvious.
Exactly. You'll be able to point it out. Like we've all watched a movie or read a book where it's blatantly obvious what they're trying to say, and we know that we're just being like bashed over the head with it, and it's so transparent that it's annoying. But there are movies that could tell the exact same message, and you don't even notice it's going on. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because it doesn't seem like it's really a, a part of the story
This is
almost.
why Christian movies are usually really, really, really bad. Is because
Oh,
their goal is to basically promote Christian values first.
spread the message.
Spread the message, and then like they don't care about the story really. It's just like how do we get to the common end, the goal, and
Mhm.
people can pick up on that right away. They can. There could be good like Christian movies that like promote Christian ethics in a way, but most movies that are like financed and produced and made by like Christian studios tend to be really, really bad. Like really bad.
No, the Bible wouldn't be considered propaganda, right?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, technically, it's supposed to be nonfiction, right?
Right,
There's accounts of what happened,
right, exactly.
but it was
Um,
also
hmm,
all put together to create like a structure and a message as well after given events and everything.
true. But the question is, were those messages discovered by the authors, or were they promoted by the authors, and then they wrote the story to match that message?
Yeah, hmm,
Everyone goes on a journey of self-discovery, and you can learn the message um, through like sort of own way. And and if you are discovering that message and you're just telling people that discovery, I don't think that's propaganda. It
hmm,
comes from a place of humility and um, not ignorance. That's not the right word, but inexperience.
okay.
Yeah,
Naivety.
naivety. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't.
Hmm.
I wouldn't regard the Bible as propaganda necessarily. Not if you think of it as like the stories written by people who were living the experiences.
Yeah, I guess you could say you could use parts of the Bible as propaganda, but
Well, if it was all written secondhand later on to promote the message, then you could say it's propaganda. But if you accept that it's basically a history, an account of history of the ancient Hebrews and early Christians, then it's not so much propaganda as it is just sort of the telling of the story.
yeah. Okay. Can it be overanalyzed though?
Oh, fuck yeah!
Probably.
don't we have like 500 sects of Christianity because of how
That's
we
very
interpret the
true, yeah.
Bible?
Yeah, the Sabbath is supposed to be Saturday, not Sunday.
Right. So because yeah, exactly. We have like 500 sects of Christianity because of how we interpret the Bible. So yes, death of the author. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
All right, let's
Yeah,
continue.
but I wish we would have the author to actually explain it to us at that point. Their
Uh,
intent.
the curtains were blue, man.
Jesus
That's all I meant.
wept. That's all I meant.
That's all I meant to say.
Has broad implications for analyzing art. If meaning is objective, then discussion becomes much more narrow. Critics must take the artist's word as law and only look for meanings that the artist consciously intended. On the other hand, if meaning is subjective, a critic can find any message they want in a film. And that means anybody can throw around any theory they want. English teachers can overanalyze.
Oh, that was the other question I was going to ask. Did you ever think of King Kong as an allegory for slavery?
I could see how you could put that together, but
Yeah,
no.
but did you ever think that that was what it was trying to say?
No, it's such a ridiculous concept that
Right. That okay. Just checking because that's like what the whole central thing about Inglorious Bastards is. The I don't know the character's name, but the German Nazi was thinking that it was a story about slavery
yeah.
until they asked, like, "Am I a Negro?" No. Oh, then I'm King Kong.
Very true, yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of it about that. But yeah.
Hmm.
analyze curtains, no matter what the artist says. So where is the line? Let's have a look at how artists talk about and make their movies to figure out the best mindset towards analyzing and overanalyzing film. Some directors do clearly state their intentions for a movie. In a rare interview from the Coen brothers, they mention that The Big Lebowski is based on noir detective novels from the 30s and 40s, but with a humorous twist. It has the main character in over his head, a complicated and morally ambiguous narrative, and an unreliable supporting cast. But instead of smoking cigarettes like most noir heroes, he smokes marijuana, one of the several humorous twists on the conventional detective stereotypes. For deeper...
You've seen The Big Lebowski, right?
Of course, with you.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah.
It
It's been many years, though.
has been a while. Yeah, we should rewatch it at some point.
This sounds good because that's my favorite movie. My favorite movie of all time. I feel
Is
like
it supposed to be a deep movie?
no, it's not supposed to be deep. No,
No,
I think he summarized it. I think that's most fans' interpretation of the movie, and he said that's what the Coen brothers, the writers of the movie, intended. So that was clear connection.
Hmm.
Oh, I wonder if they're going to bring up what you and I discussed about American
Oh,
Psycho
a
last.
movie, yeah, that we have just watched.
Yes, let's actually we'll watch this part. Yeah.
movie ideas, many directors create a movie with an idea in mind. But not only will directors hide the meaning of their movies, they may even film the movie deceptively. In American Psycho, director Mary Herron had William Dafoe portray his character in 3 different ways. The first way, the character thinks Patrick Bateman killed Paul Allen.
I just wanted to know if you know.
The second, he thinks he didn't do it.
People just disappear.
And the third, he's unsure.
To think that one of his friends killed him for no reason whatsoever would be too ridiculous. Isn't that right, Patrick?
Herron edited these portrayals together to have the character constantly switch his opinion of Bateman between takes. The choice creates a movie full of uncertainty, and it adds to the frenzied, toxic male dominance within the movie. Ang Lee used the exact same...
No, they didn't cover what we talked about. American Psycho. It was more about Willem Dafoe's character.
Yeah, interesting.
Did you ever? Oh, sorry. Continue.
No, about like how he like interprets it and kind of like plays off of Bateman's anxiety.
Yeah. Since we rewatched the movie recently, Willem Dafoe's character, did you get the sense that he thought Patrick Bateman was the killer, or didn't he?
That's a good question. I don't think so. He was just kind of letting Bateman like bait himself into it almost. Like he just asked open-ended questions, and Patrick was just so nervous that he kind of almost walked into it. As any good detective should, you shouldn't like lean in with any prejudice.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think that they just presented him as not suspicious of Patrick Bateman, but just as any good detective would be. Hey,
Yo.
how's it going there, Tina?
Going good. Are you listening to me through your computer or?
Yeah, I can hear you through my computer. So you're being
Okay.
You're being recorded right now. I guess I'll keep this part in the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. So for those who just tuned in or got to this point in the video, first off, thank you for sticking around. Second, we should let you know that neither Tina and I pay for the Zoom subscription, so they only limit our meetings to like 40-minute meetings, and like if you want to do a meeting like immediately after, you have to wait till like 10 minutes. So
Those corporate bastards.
yeah, go fuck them for wanting to make money, right?
Yeah.
They should just offer their service for free forever. No, no. So I was in the middle of talking about Willem Dafoe's character in American Psycho, and I never thought of the character as uniquely suspicious of Patrick Bateman. It was just sort of just general detective vibes.
Yeah. I never thought there was anything underlying, like any suspicions or anything. He seemed like just a good old detective.
Yeah. Um, but okay, so we got 4 more minutes to go. It was just any good old detective, and yeah, I think so. That is an example of this YouTuber over analyzing the scene. Would you
Hmm.
say?
I think so. I mean, I was kind
Let's.
of even going to kind of expound in that I wonder what if in the book, like the detective was any bit different and kind of like the differences between how a movie would present a narrative versus a book, because it seems like a lot more can be left out of movies. Like you
Yeah.
don't have that kind of internal voice or that you might hear from some characters.
Speaking of the book, my friend recently just gave me as a Christmas present the book American Psycho, along with another
Ooh.
one. Yeah, yeah. Because we had talked about American Psycho a long time ago, and he told me that, like, we had a big argument. Not a big argument, just a disagreement. I think it was actually on the podcast, no less. But it was
Hmm.
along the. This is Phyllis. It was on the topic of American Psycho, whether the ending of the movie indicates that he's just crazy and he imagined killing all those people, or whether or not, or whether the actual case was he did kill all those people. It's just that everyone's so shallow they didn't care.
Yeah,
And I only
and
said, and he read the book, and he came back to me and said, "You win the bet." In the book, they make it way more clear. He was killing everyone. It's just that no one cared.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
He says, "Yeah, I'd have to read the book for myself, and I will." But he told me that it's very clearly stated in the book that it's just a commentary on the yuppie vanity of everyone. Everyone's so shallow that if a serial killer was living amongst them, they wouldn't notice.
So yeah, it's kind of an example of using the same narrative to maybe convey a different message, but this
Mhm.
one leaves it where it's very much more open-ended for the audience, and you have to let the audience decide
Yeah.
instead of maybe. And it makes it movies like those make it easy to overanalyze, like where you start looking at every little thing to
Hmm.
um, kind
I
of
think
come up with something like, oh, it's got to be this because of this, but
no, I think American Psycho is definitely a good one in terms of leaving it open-ended enough where there is such discussion about what the meaning of the movie was and what the ending meant. It's a great movie. Hey, I have a question because I can't remember your opinion on it. But did you like the movie Interstellar?
I did, yeah. What
Okay,
about it?
oh, because I have these like vague memories of you hating that movie for some reason.
Really?
Yeah,
Interstellar?
I don't remember why. I thought like maybe you saw it in theaters and it didn't live up to your expectations, but for some reason
No,
I
I,
had
I did see it in theaters.
yeah, but you actually did really like it. It
I liked everything except for the love is the answer to part of it.
What's wrong with love being the answer?
I just would have wished for a more scientific like answer.
No, why the fuck do you need that? Haven't you taken any sort of psychedelics? That's what that movie's
I won't answer
about.
that.
That's what the movie's
Uh,
no, that is what the movie is about. It's a really, really fucking weird trip.
I
Matthew
guess
Mc
like if you don't have yeah. Everything about it I liked except for that, if I remember correctly.
the Interstellar is an allegory for one hell of a mushroom trip. Matthew McConaughey was high the entire time.
And that's him coming down when he wakes up in space.
Absolutely. And how time is distorted. Everything moves slower in certain places and faster in others.
Yeah, that's a DMT trip for you.
That's right. That's 100% what it's about. All right, I think that we're ready for the Zoom meeting to start back up again, but I have to use the restroom, so I'm going to cut this part of the video, and I'll see you on Zoom.
Okay, I'll
All
be
right.
back in a second, audience.
Okay. All right. Bye. And we're back.
Hey.
All right. Sorry for the delay, everyone. I know you all appreciate that we managed to do this podcast at the quality we do for the cost we save you. But yeah, we pass on those savings on to you. That's how we keep these videos free for all of our viewers. That
Yep.
and YouTube.
You've heard of you have to spend money to make money, but we got a different philosophy.
You know, if our 5 viewers start paying us, we might actually pay for the subscription. Just saying.
Yeah, this is almost on you.
It's
All right,
on
let's
that.
not turn against our audience too much.
Why not? It's easy to do, and it relieves me of all responsibility.
Okay, it is your guys' fault.
That's right. Okay, let's continue the video, shall we?
Okay.
Same technique in Brokeback Mountain.
I played it as though I knew what was going on with Jake's character Jack and that he had been cheating on me with men, and I knew about the gay bashing, and I also played it as though I had no idea that this is how my husband died. And those takes got merged in the final film, so I don't actually know. Aang knows the truth in his head, and it's not important to me because I think the ambiguity is what is the strength of that scene and what's heartbreaking about it.
When filmmakers
Did you ever see Brokeback Mountain?
I haven't, no.
No.
Did you?
No. It's about gay cowboys.
That's what we all know, and Kiss of the Year, right?
Was it 2006?
Was it? That's probably why I didn't see it. I was probably still kind of somewhat Christian at the time.
I don't
Yeah.
even know if I was all that Christian. I just didn't like gay cowboys. It didn't sound like a very appeasing movie to someone who's a teenage boy.
I think there were probably a lot of gay cowboys out there, right?
Sure, I'm sure, but that's their movie to watch then, but it's not mine. This movie wasn't made for me. It's not for you.
Oh,
Look, Star.
Heath Ledger though.
Oh, dude, he's a great actor. Yeah. Heath Ledger would have made a great Luke Skywalker.
It looks like him, right? Yeah, a little bit.
A little, maybe. I think that I was just thinking about Star Wars because I was just thinking what kind of movies was I watching back then in high school. I was a big Star Wars fan back then, but then Disney had to ruin it.
Yeah, the prequel didn't ruin it for you, but
no, it didn't. Ironically, and I knew they were crap. That's the thing. The prequels were crap and didn't ruin it for me. That's weird, right? But the Disney movies ruined it because my expectations were so much higher for those ones, and then they fucking ruined it.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think it was about the Disney movies that was it the actual plot? Was it not unique enough?
No, just the prequels.
Granted, you still haven't seen the last one.
No, I still haven't. I never will. The prequels allowed for more memes. That's the reason.
Oh, okay. It fed into the fan fiction, though. Whereas it's probably true that the newest one didn't seem to.
No, literally, it's just funny because all the memes that come out of that movie.
Oh, okay.
The prequels. The prequels were bad, but there's two things I'll say about the prequels. They were memorable, for one. That's already better than the sequels. And two, I saw a good story being told, even though the execution of the story was awful. The dialogue was terrible, the acting was stiff, the CGI was overwhelming, but the story itself was good. And the sequels, the story is so discombobulated and doesn't know what it's trying to say that it's terrible. That's the difference. The prequels told a coherent story that people followed and liked, even if it wasn't done well.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying like memes like of Luke Skywalker drinking, alien milk? Doesn't
that could be a meme one day, but it's a meme mocking everything that people love about Luke Skywalker. So.
I kind of moving aside a little bit. I do think like some movies are kind of being made to somewhat be like memeified too, to an extent. Like,
really?
It's like meme propaganda.
Meme propaganda.
The cool thing about memes is it seems unintentional, right?
Yeah. I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, and when studios are like trying to create like these sort of memes within movies, it
doesn't work. Yeah, it's artificial.
Yeah, just to gain more attention.
Do you have a movie in mind?
Oh man, I don't know if I have a specific movie in mind. I wish
anything with Nicolas Cage. Let's say that.
Okay.
It's
the man is a meme.
Well, it's become self-aware. When Nicolas Cage was an internet joke, it was fun because like we all thought everyone like treated Nicolas Cage as a real actor.
Yeah.
And the internet loved him because he was so hammy. And then he and the studios embraced how hammy and awkward he is, and it becomes less enjoyable.
Well, that's the whole thing about one of his latest movies about him playing himself, right? Which turned
I
into
still
probably one of the better movies of his career.
I still haven't seen it. The unbearable weight of
Massive talent.
the unbearable weight of massive talent. I want to see it because there's memes about it.
Yeah, I do need to rewatch it. I watched it and we were like talking mostly through the movie, so I can't say too much.
I will say that one is high on my list of movies to see. We're gonna watch me and Mary are gonna watch. Sorry, me and my wife. We're gonna go watch Barbie tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah.
You'll have to tell me what you think.
Okay, I will. I'll tell you on New Year's what I think about it. But like, we're gonna watch it. It's the biggest movie of the year, and she loved it, so I want to see it. I always wanted to see it. What?
Your wife has already seen it?
She watched it for her podcast with.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a movie that could be overanalyzed? Because I know some of the talking points about the movie.
As someone who's watched a lot of analysts on the movie, yeah, it's definitely overanalyzed.
Okay. I don't think it's meant to be. Well, I don't know. Do you think it's meant
I think it is. I think it is meant to be, but that's fun. Overanalyzing can be fun in some ways. If the movie sparks as much debate as it has, then there's some quality to it, even if it's good or bad. I don't know. I want to see it.
Okay, I mean, there's an artistic way of overanalyzing things, right?
Yeah, there definitely is, and it's the curtains were blue because it signifies sadness. That's the artistic way of overanalyzing.
There were oranges in the scene because it means there's going to be a murder.
Yes, that's the kind of overanalyzing that is pretentious and awful.
Okay.
But the overanalyzing of what the message of the movie was, I mean, I expect Barbie to be funny and colorful and somewhat preachy, but also overall mundane. That's what I expect.
Yeah, most people I know that have seen the movie like the movie.
Yeah.
And I don't think I know anyone that hasn't liked it. I haven't seen it. I will see it soon. But most people leave feeling a little sorry for Ken, from what I understand.
I've heard that too. My wife just overall liked it because it was fun and very colorful and very good set design and whatnot. But also because she kind of grew up with Barbie, so there was something to that. There's a nostalgia to it. Yeah. Me, I don't know if I'm going to have the same nostalgia because I never played with Barbie, obviously. But I'm hoping it's going to be a funny movie because from what I hear, it's a funny movie. That's all I
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's
definitely
all
a movie you can form an opinion on, maybe.
All I want out of it is for it to be enjoyable, and that I can laugh for an hour and a half. That's all I'm looking forward to. I don't expect it to be. I don't know if I overanalyze it, but I could tell you otherwise come New Year's. I could come to you New Year's and say, Tina, this movie was terrible for X, Y, and Z, and it's bad for society. Or I could come to you and say that Barbie is a great movie because it promotes X, Y, and Z, and that's why it's great for society.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'll make sure to watch it before we see each other.
You think so? Okay, we'll discuss Barbie.
It's on Max for free right now. So.
I don't have Max. I shouldn't say this out loud, but I download and pirate movies.
Yeah, you're
come find me. Come find me, studios.
Okay.
There's no one by the name of Karen where I'm at. All right.
Right. Create a movie with multiple meanings. They tend to keep their intent a secret.
Anyone else have a theory about what it could be?
I've seen that movie.
See. That's it.
I've heard about that movie.
I could see how people would overanalyze it, or yeah.
Oh, I heard it was very pretentious. Is that about right?
Yeah. It's an art house movie.
It's meant to make you think, even though it doesn't know what it's trying to say. Yeah, that's stupid. I don't like movies like that, actually. I hate the movie where the director thinks he's more brilliant than he is.
By just leaving things open-ended.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
Oh, I guess a good one for that would be Eyes Wide Shut, right?
Well, no, actually, that's a bad one for that because Stanley Kubrick is that brilliant. Sorry, there are directors who like it's a South Park meme actually. It's like, ask me what it means. Ask me what it means. Who are they lampooning there? I can't remember, but they're making fun of a director who puts way too much symbolism in their movies. I can't remember who it is. But there is a South Park episode about that very idea of just the director who thinks they're way more brilliant than they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, was Eyes Wide Shut a movie that was supposed to, unveil the curtain about,
Eyes Wide Shut was the beginning of QAnon.
where it all started.
Yeah, I saw that movie and I started posting online on 4chan and became this huge thing. It got way out of hand and I should have let it go.
You were like the guy who started Scientology. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's even worse because the guy who started Scientology, there's an interview out there that has him admitting that he can make up a religion if he wanted to.
Well, exactly. That's you saying you posted it.
No, I'm saying I was Q, but it just got way out of hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hold on here. Let me just change this thing for a second.
Sure. Yeah, I think that movie is supposed to be about marriage, or like a failing marriage.
There we go. See what I did?
No, I didn't actually.
Look at my name.
Oh, okay.
All right. Mother is about marriage.
No, not well. No, no, the Eyes Wide Shut, like a failing marriage.
Oh, well, yeah, that seems pretty obvious.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
but I think the audience interprets it as so much more, right?
possibly because it does say a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on.
Well, there's a lot of ways you could talk about a metaphor for marriage without being eyes wide shut.
That's true.
All right, but no, do you know what the message of Mother is?
Trying to remember it. I couldn't tell you. I'd have to rewatch it because there's a lot going on.
All right, okay.
It kind of breaks down at one point, and you can't really. It becomes all symbolism.
Okay, let's keep going then.
Good. I'm not going to say what it is. You could. No, you may not.
I never talk about themes. It's a very big shame when something is finished and then people want you to translate it back into words. It never will work. It never will go back into words and be what the film is. It's like describing a piece of music. You don't hear the music. You just see the words. It's better to let people conjure up their own ideas, having seen and experienced the film.
I mean, they want you to say, I think, this is a story of the duality of man and the duplicity of governments, or something like that. And, I hear people try to do it sometimes in interviews. It usually is bullshit, or it's a work of good. It's sort of, it's usually irrelevant.
Kubrick might.
So Stanley Kubrick said the people who try to overanalyze his movies are bullshit.
That reminds me of another famous director with a movie that came out recently where people were like lampooning Napoleon, which came out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen memes about the movie, and all the memes point towards the director saying the whole movie is about cuckery.
No, I'd be interested now that you say that.
Okay, wait, what were you gonna say then?
No, someone came to Ridley Scott complaining that the movie wasn't all that historically accurate, and
right.
he said, "You care about the historical accuracy of this movie, you're a fucking nerd," or something.
Well, I'm sorry, if you're gonna make a historical period piece, you probably should be as somewhat historical accurate. But then again, my favorite historical period piece is the most inaccurate movie I can think of is Braveheart. I don't care what the actual story of William Wallace is. I think the movie's great.
Well, that's a good point with historical fiction. It does the intent or like historical, I don't know, maybe not entirely fiction. Does the intent
Yeah.
of the author or director
Well,
matter as much?
I think when it comes to historical movies, there is some. Well, I mean, except okay. So there's two categories of historical movies. There's Inglorious Bastards, and then there's Napoleon.
Okay.
Inglorious Bastards is clearly presented as a fiction. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be accurate.
Okay.
I mean, like just the fact that we see Hitler die in the theater with his head being shot off, like it's pretty obvious that's not what happened. So it's presented a historical period, yes, but it's
Pretty
present
clear to well, it should be should be clear to the audience that this didn't happen.
yes, but then there are also some more drama pieces that are trying to say this is how things actually somewhat happened. I think those movies do have some obligation to be accurate. Yes,
Okay.
only because I would say is a lot of people's conception of history comes from movies. They don't read into things further. They don't
Mhm.
research things. They just watch the Hollywood movie and say, oh yeah, that's kind of how it was.
Okay, it depends on how the movie's advertised, maybe.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. If you're doing something on Napoleon, you can understand why they might change things slightly to move the movie around so that people can watch it in 2.5 hours and enjoy it.
Yeah,
But
but I also heard that there was I haven't seen the movie, but I only heard of one scene that happened in the movie where and this is clearly historically inaccurate. He's firing cannons at the pyramids in Egypt, and he's blowing them up or something. And like I think Ridley Scott was like even said basically that like how can I show in a very short amount of time that he conquered Egypt? I mean, this it's like, yeah, that's not how he did it. That's not what happened. But like, it's clear to the audience what's happening. Okay, he conquered Egypt.
Okay. Okay, where you kind of stretch the truth to make the story not too long.
Yeah, so it's shorthand. People, oh, pyramids, Egypt. Okay, oh, Napoleon's there. He's winning. Oh, there. Yeah,
Okay, we can move on.
yeah. That's basically it's a tidbit thing. I don't know.
I don't know, how do you
My
feel about that?
I don't care. I'm not really well informed on Napoleon history. I know a little bit.
It's kind of why I
Uh,
was curious about watching it, even though I know that parts of it are
I
historically inaccurate.
I think the relationship with Josephine, which is the main plot to the story, is somewhat accurate. Like how Josephine resented him and hated him, and he loved her.
Okay.
That's all true, I guess. I don't know how it's presented, but I mean that much is true. His wife hated him, and he loved her.
Ah, classic marriage.
Yeah, and that's. But anyways, that's what I heard was the main like kind of like dramatic plot line to the movie is his relationship with his wife, which
Okay,
is
so maybe it depends on where the focal points of the movie is supposed to be.
kind
Like,
of yeah,
maybe.
but it's also if you're gonna make a movie about Napoleon and your focus is on his marriage, I don't think that that's fair for Napoleon
Okay.
because he did a lot more than just had a marriage problem.
Yeah, yeah. They're saying a lot of people say modern Europe wouldn't look the way it is without him. So
Right. True.
interesting.
He spread sort of French liberalism to all of Europe.
That's true. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay, well, let's
yeah.
keep because we have a time frame now, unfortunately.
Be the best director to look at when discussing overanalyzing because his movies are some of the most analyzed in American cinema. The documentary Room 237 focuses entirely on fan theories about The Shining. Some of the ideas suggested in the documentary are pretty ridiculous, like when they claim Kubrick airbrushed his own face into the clouds as the family drives to the hotel. After
Where?
hearing about his intense shooting schedules and extremely detailed production design, fans have seemed to build a mythos around Kubrick, believing he put specific meaning into every little thing.
I mean, despite all of the sort of apocryphal stories about me, almost all of which are untrue, you don't have unlimited resources, and they do watch the budget, and you do have to account for what you're doing.
The stories about Kubrick.
Do you feel like some directors just have sort of a certain style they want to convey, and there's no meaning to it? It's just that that's what they think looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I know Kubrick's style was that he came from a background of like photography,
Uh huh.
and so he wasn't necessarily about the It's like the shots within the movie conveying a message just as much as maybe its own narrative. Like it wasn't so much about trying to create like, and if anything, he was the guy over analyzing a book and making his own interpretation of movies, so, like with Clockwork Orange or 2001: The Space Odyssey.
Very famously, The Shining. Stephen King
Yeah, The Shining. Yeah,
hated Stanley Kubrick's interpretation of The Shining.
yeah. And I don't think the author of 2001: A Space Odyssey. I think he appreciated the movie. I don't know if he loved it though.
Mm. It's kind of like
Just could.
It's kind of like Starship Troopers.
Ah,
You know about Starship Troopers?
I do actually. A coworker has read the book recently.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the book is written by Robert Heinrich, and the book is written very dry and
Hmm.
very dramatic because Heinrich was trying to present his view of what the ideal, um, you could call it post-liberal democracy future would look like. I think
Hmm.
so. Heinrich's Republic, and it's taken very seriously in the book. My point is, um, the guy who directed the movie didn't read the book. He hired an intern basically to read the book, and give me the bullet points
Give
of
me
the book.
the Spark
And
Notes version.
because he said he tried to read the book, but he found it incredibly boring, so he didn't want to read it.
Interesting.
So he had an intern basically read it for him and put the bullets. And now when people watch the movie's somewhat over the top, comical, very fun, very great movie, but
Yeah.
it's not taken seriously. It's a mockery of what the original book would have been. And if the author had saw the movie, I don't know if he did or not. I think he died before the movie came out. He
Yeah.
would have been horrified by it because it's so silly.
I could see, yeah, the book is supposed to be like a series. It's almost, from what I hear, people complain it's a bit too propaganda like.
It is. It's because like a lot of the first couple of chapters, it's all just basically the military academy, like him professing his philosophy. Same way with I say about Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand
Yeah.
had a philosophy that he wanted to convey, fine, but that's not like prioritizing the story. And
Hmm.
Heinrich was the same way. He had this idea of a perfect society. He wanted to show what that perfect society looked like, and he used a story to tell it.
Yeah, so maybe not focusing so much on the characters, but as a character using a vehicle to
Mhm.
explain their message almost.
Right, and then the most important part is that the director um, who made the movie based on this book hated the book, didn't even read it, and just basically said, "Okay, give me the bullet points. I'm gonna make my own movie."
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I wish all film producers had to do that as like a project. Just give me the Spark Notes, I'll make my own movie.
Okay, here's a good question. Give me your best movie based on a book that is nothing like the book.
Oh, the best movie? That is
Like if you had
nothing.
to say like a movie that like it changes the story, it changes way too much from the books that it's almost not even related to the books. Can you think of
Oh
one that comes
wow.
to mind? Because every movie changes a few things here and there to make it
A novel
adaptable.
adaptation.
Yeah. Give me one. Do you think that stands out? Do you think?
Um, oh man, that really kind of like changes your perspective on it.
Like, have you ever read a book, watched the movie, and said the movie is nothing like the book? People need to read the book. Have you ever had that
I
thought?
watched the movie Up in the Air,
Okay.
and George Clooney, Anna Kendrick, about a guy who basically fires people for a living, and I don't know, Up in the Air just brought so much more life to it, where the movie and charisma, whereas the book didn't seem. It seemed, I don't know, less imaginative and kind of more like in the weeds almost,
Mm-hmm.
you
Okay.
know. Yeah.
Okay. Up
That
in
would
the
be
air.
my experience.
Right. All right. Cool.
Yeah. As far, I don't know, you could say of a totally different interpretation of it, but yeah,
All right.
that's what I would say.
Okay. That's a good answer. Thank you.
largely ignore
What?
Nothing.
how he himself described his shooting process. He says he actually doesn't always put a particular meaning in his directing choices.
I'm pretty good at generalized statements, but when I'm asked what is this, I still can't tell somebody what Paths of Glory is about. I find it's much more of an intuitive process, more like what I would imagine writing music is like, rather than a sort of structuring and argument.
This intuitive approach doesn't make Kubrick's films any less meaningful. It just means while he's making the movie, his intent isn't always immediately obvious to him.
Do you ever feel sometimes that like people analyze films in the same way that people from previous times would have analyzed the Bible or religion?
Like, I don't know, because like with those sorts of interpretations, it kind of like, there's consequences, whereas just over analyzing a movie, it's fun to talk about like what you thought about the movie with other people, but I don't think there's any real life consequences to it necessarily, not that I could point out.
I kind of disagree. I feel like a lot of people actually do watch movies in a somewhat prophetic way. The movies are like moral stories about how they should live their life. People watch movies and they think like, I think like kids grow up thinking, I want to be like Luke Skywalker, I want to be like Batman. They want to be like the characters they're watching. So sometimes when people watch movies, they think like, what is the message that's being sent to me? That's how they're viewing it. In the same way, like when people listen to sort of religious scriptures, it's like, okay, they try to like take what they hear and they try to say, how do I use this towards how do I live my life? So I feel like, I feel like one of the reasons why we overanalyze movies is because there's fewer and fewer religious people, but they're still looking for moral messaging somewhere from something. People crave some moral messaging from something, and like you talk to a lot of people now, a lot of people derive their morals from Batman.
Yeah.
Or Star Trek. I'm not joking. I'm serious.
Really?
That's how
Trekkies out there still?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know there are, but
well, where do you think most people derive their morals from?
probably from the people around them, or art around them, or
the stories that they maybe grew up with.
I don't know if people necessarily get them from their own experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if morals can be like I guess it can be a taught thing. I don't know if it can be a learned thing. I'm not sure.
But do you feel like when people especially kids, when they're watching movies, they are learning moral messages at the same time that they're just being entertained?
Hard to say. Like, I guess there have been studies done where people like watch more violent movies as younger, and it doesn't necessarily to them becoming more violent people, right?
No, but that's not what I'm saying. Like, I mean, like when like people like say they want to be like Luke Skywalker, what are they saying?
That they want to be a good, loving brother.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to drop the conversation because that was a great answer. All right, but good answer, yes.
Okay.
Instead makes choices that feel right, instead of constantly dealing with hidden meanings.
I never deal with subtext when I'm writing. Ever. I keep it about the text. I keep it about the scenario, because I know there's a lot there, but I don't want to know it right now.
So where does that leave room for analysis? In both cases where directors hide the meaning and where they don't work with a specific meaning in mind, the viewer
we got
can't
probably
know
like
the
less than 10
objective
minutes.
truth. But that doesn't mean analysis is hopeless.
The very basic things, especially from where Mr. Orange is coming from. I'm dying and I want to go to the hospital. But just in writing those words, just all this stuff just started pouring out. And that was when I realized it was a father-son story going on. And
in this interview, Tarantino reveals a crucial truth about filmmaking. He shows us
Okay, I'm wondering who's going to get what I just thought, but Tarantino just summed it up pretty well. Want to go back to that? Did you hear it?
Yeah, go back a little bit here.
The stuff just started pouring out, and that was when I realized it was a father-son story going on. And
in this interview, Tarantino reveals a crucial truth about filmmaking. He shows us how he subconsciously put a deeper meaning in his movie. It doesn't matter.
Okay, interesting. Like he never intended to make that kind of father-son distinction, and
he realized it later on as he was writing. That's exactly what I was saying earlier about the difference between art and propaganda.
Yeah, that aha sort of thing.
Yeah, well, he's writing a story and he's thinking about the characters, and the characters are real in his mind, talking to one another, and he sees how they interact, and eventually he realizes it's a father-son sort of parable.
Yeah, and so he didn't come out with the intent, and then he just dove himself so much into the characters that he just said that this would probably be what would happen.
Yeah, well, I think he was thinking about the characters first. He wasn't trying to map the characters onto the message he was trying to say. The message just naturally came out. He realized, he discovered it's a father-son story.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, that probably goes back to like the writing process.
Well, Tarantino is one of the best writers there is. I don't think anyone disputes that.
Yeah, as far as like originality and what we need in Hollywood right now.
Right.
Too bad he's only going to make one more movie.
That'll be a good one. So young. Why doesn't he want to keep making movies?
It's an artistic decision. Like he doesn't want his catalog to have too many bad movies, and he wants his like catalog of movies also to like speak for himself. I listened to an interview about it, but he wants his catalog to kind of speak to himself. Like Stanley Kubrick didn't have that many movies, right?
No, he didn't. He was actually very selective about what he would do.
Yeah,
but every one is a masterpiece almost.
Yeah, and I think it depends on each person, and no one's Stephen King, obviously, but even Stephen King is kind of watered down himself,
Well, Stephen King has a completely different writing process. I think, doesn't Stephen King say just to keep the habit up, he has to write 7 pages a day?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, it's crazy to think that you could write that much. I mean, how much of it is going to be any good?
Or truly like original, like.
All right.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's written so much that there's some crap, but there's a lot of great.
And that just comes from hard work and kind of mastering his kind of voice, I guess.
Yeah, let's keep watching. We're going to run out of time soon.
Yeah.
We'll probably finish the podcast on a different medium, but let's keep going.
Matter if directors work with one meaning in mind or work purely on intuition. Everybody brings their prior experiences with them in the creative choices they make. And that doesn't stop at the director. Every person involved in the process of filmmaking places their worldview into the work. And a good analysis reveals these hidden meanings.
To me, it's very obvious. I mean, of course, King Kong is a metaphor for the slave trade. I'm not saying the makers of King Kong meant it to be that way, but that's the movie that they made, whether they meant to make it or not.
This analysis works because it fits with the time period the movie was made. It's not only convincing, but the analysis also makes the movie more impactful. Some interpretations seem to miss that analysis should add something meaningful to the movie. In this particular interpretation, King Kong shows how white people of the 1930s may have feared the free black population in America. Not only is that interpretation well supported, but it also invites the viewer to think about the movie in a fresh and interesting way. Even if
I will probably watch King Kong completely differently now. He's making some good points.
Yeah, maybe it kind of speaks to maybe not what the author had intended, but something you can see from just how what's expressed in the time period.
Right, it's what like exactly what Tarantino was saying. Like it's like he looks at King Kong and it's clear to him what the message is, and yet even if the original creators of King Kong didn't intend it that way, it's just clear to him. And now I'm looking at King Kong a completely different way too, because I never thought of it as an allegory for slavery.
Yeah. And maybe that author just didn't have that aha moment.
No. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe he was just like subconsciously writing a story about his thoughts on slavery and he just didn't even realize that's what he was doing.
I just want to make a movie about a giant Thanos.
Right, yeah.
This is what seemed to work.
Oh, this could be horribly misinterpreted. Oh.
If it is true that Kubrick airbrushed his face into the clouds, how
Do you see his face anywhere? What's this like?
I don't know. I need someone to like circle the area that they see it, but nothing like popping out in the cloud.
I don't see. Yeah, I don't see a face at all. So I think people are really reading into that.
does that add to the movie?
Yeah.
And strangely enough, maybe some
maybe
stories
they're
are better enjoyed
tripping
with
a little bit.
Yeah.
Out analysis. Kubrick once said if you submit to a completely logical and detailed analysis of a supernatural movie, it will eventually appear absurd. The true measure of a great
Oh, Interstellar.
I was just thinking.
You ruined Interstellar because you wanted a scientific explanation. It's a fucking mushroom trip.
It's a supernatural story. I missed the point.
It's a shroom trip is what's happening.
Not a science trip.
Great supernatural thriller, he says, isn't in its hidden meaning, but in if the audience had a good fright, believed the film they were watching, and retained some sense of it. With Brokeback Mountain, the true analysis of Jack's death isn't what matters. The fact that Ang Lee leaves the audience uncertain of Jack's fate makes his ending that much more heartbreaking. There's no sense of closure for us or for Ennis. So maybe the next time you watch the ending of 2001: A Space Odyssey, don't obsess over the details. Kubrick actually did reveal what he was going for in that ending.
I tried to avoid.
I've never seen 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, never. I've read too many stories about how quiet the movie was, and then there's like 10 minutes of dialogue in the whole movie. And I like dialogue, I like writing, I like the banter people can come up with. So that was a big turnoff when I heard about that.
I think I can appreciate it for its lack of dialogue, actually.
That might be just my bias towards what I like. I like Quentin Tarantino to me is like the best. Tarantino and the Coen brothers are my two favorite directors because their writing is so good. The dialogue they write is perfect to me.
But yeah, the dialogue that you do have in 2001 is great.
But there's like 10 minutes in a 2-hour movie.
I think it's to convey like the feeling of empty space,
It was
part of it.
I should probably give it a shot at some point, but it's bothersome to me to know that was part of it. I mean, before I watched the movie, I read that as a fun fact of it. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound like an interesting movie.
It's definitely one of those movies you have to watch a few times to really kind of get a sense of what you think about it. But try it, with some,
What?
Some
what?
things.
Tea?
Yeah, not tea, but
Oh, other tea.
Other tea.
Right, other tea. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genetic tea.
To be fair, that's what I thought about The Big Lebowski too. It wasn't good when I first watched it. Well, it was good, but I didn't know why it was good, and it took me to watch it 2 or 3 times to really figure out why I thought it was good.
Yeah, and again, what's the moral that you're supposed to come out with that one?
I don't think there's a moral in The Big Lebowski. I think it's just this is the dude. He's the worst person you'd ever want on the case, but this is just how he would handle it. I don't think there's a moral to it.
But yeah, but why do we keep watching it, right?
If there was a moral to the movie, I would say that like even the lazy stoner can still care about an innocent woman's life. I guess that's the best thing I can say to him.
Even the easy stoner can make an impact.
Yeah, there you go. That's
doing this ever since the picture came out, because when you just say the ideas, they sound foolish, whereas if they're dramatized, what kills it.
I'll link his interpretation in the description. But before you click on that, watch the ending one more time and think about the
ending
emotion
is pretty weird.
I don't know the ending. We'll have to talk about that off stream, I guess.
It evokes. Because even with a particular meaning in mind, Kubrick built that ending based not around his own meaning, but around how he wanted it to make you feel. So,
am I on air?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay. You lead the way here.
Perhaps I was wrong in making a video call. You want me to start over?
No. Let's keep it going. Let's do it live. Fuck it.
All right. Okay. So there wasn't much more to the video there. Just talking about the Kubrick was more concerned about how you felt about the ending and less about what he had to say about the ending. So it does go back to the death of the author thing, that it's more important how the audience interprets a story than what the author intended. Um,
Well, that's why we consume all these, is to see how we feel about it, right?
yeah. So I've never seen 2001: A Space Odyssey. So spoiler alert. What happens and what are your thoughts about it?
Oh, man, I couldn't even tell you what happens.
Okay, it's that weird.
It gets that weird. It's a movie about where it seems like there might be like some sort of higher power that kind of like controls everything. Like pulling the strings per se.
Oh, really? So 2001: A Space Odyssey is about God?
It's a weird movie about how mankind has transitioned through its own lifespan.
So it's about
And
shrooms.
where he might see it going forward, especially like with robots later on and stuff like that. So
It's about shrooms.
yeah, it was his own experience on.
No, it was a
I would definitely encourage you to watch it.
It's a prequel to Interstellar.
It's a supernatural movie.
Yeah, HAL 9000 ends up being that stupid like Lego robot.
Oh my god.
What is that? Tars or whatever his name is, or whatever.
I can't remember.
Doesn't matter. All right, that's a good place to end it because it's getting late and we have a lot more to discuss. So this was technically probably one of our worst podcasts, not in terms of our discussion, but in terms of the actual technicalities of it all.
Sure.
Yeah.
You get like a multi-medium experience here.
There you go.
But it is our end of the year, and hopefully you'll get to see us in a new vein next year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna review Mad God. That's what we're gonna do.
There you go.
Okay. So we'll see you all in 2024. I hope 2023 was everything you could have hoped it would be, and that 2024 will not be the shit show it's sure to be.
And yeah, don't think about it too much. Just keep living.
Yeah, just keep living. That's good advice. Okay, for Tina and Karen to the tube, I am Karen.
This is Tina.
All right, stay safe, everyone, and stay hydrated. We love you.